So as I mentioned on a previous video, I was going to show in more detail how to lay out your Lazy Susan and attach the hardware. So what I've got here is I've got a square, meaning that if you measure from corner to corner, it is the same distance, 15 3/4, or really close to 3/4, but it's the same. And it's also 11 1/4 across, which means this is a perfect square, or as close as we can get. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take a straight edge, and you're going to want to draw a line from corner to corner, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to do the same on the other side so that you have an X across this thing. Okay, so what you have now is the exact center of what this is going to be is my Lazy Susan here. So the next step you're going to do is you're going to take one of these, and let me see if I can get you guys closer. I think you're going to be able to see this well on camera. And you see there's holes on this. There's 4 holes, one for each side. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you want to line it up to where one of these lines intersects the center of your hole on all 4 of these holes. There's really going to be only about one place you get them in the center. So if you can see there, that's what I've done. And I don't know if I can get you guys close enough to see that or not, but and there you can see the line goes right through the center of that hole. And it's the same for all 4 of them. So now that we've done that, you can do one of 2 things. You can either hold this in place and drill them, or you can mark each circle. And then you'll be able to come back and drill these. Now you don't want to drill all the way through this, so I'm just going to drill a little bit, just kind of mark where it needs to be at. Okay, now all 4 of our holes are drilled, so we're actually done with this one for right now. An optional step, and I'll show you how I do this in just a minute, is you can go ahead and drill these holes like this, and then you're going to want to route out a little area here that will allow this to sit almost flush with this surface. I will definitely do that on the bottom. I may do it on the top as well, but you got to make sure you leave enough room for this to turn. So now we need to move to our smaller board. So the same thing on this one. You got to make sure you got a square 6 by 6, 8.5 by 8.5. So this is again square. So we want to take our straight edge and mark the center. Same thing we just did. We're going to take this and we're going to mark these holes again. Now they're all 4 drilled. Now here's what you need to do on this one. Is you need to go ahead and line up your holes again. And I like to try to put this one here right to where the center, it's right between these. So you see this one, this top one that spins like this. Once you have your holes lined up on this bottom one, and you can even put screws in there if it helps you hold it straight. I like to try to find the center, and this is going to be put this hole or put this screw spot the furthest away from this edge here. So let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and drill this hole right here. And what's important about this hole is we're going to drill all the way through on this one here in just a minute. I'm actually going to go ahead and circle this one and color it in a little bit so that I know that's going to go all the way through. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drill this hole all the way through. Okay, so this bit here is 3/4 inches. It's way oversized. It's going to be on the bottom, so you won't be able to see it unless you turn it over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start on this side here and drill down just a little ways, and I'm going to turn it over, find my hole, and drill the rest of the way through on this side. So there we go. We got a hole Now we got a hole all the way through. My next step now is I'm gonna go ahead and outline my Lazy Susan hardware on this small piece. And now I need to route out an edge that is larger than this. So it needs to go out just about 1/8 of an inch on each side. So I can't stress this enough. If you're not comfortable with this, with using a router this way, then do not do this. This is by no means necessary. What I have set up here is I have a stop block here and a stop block here, my router bit here in the middle. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take this and set it down slowly, then I'll go all the way through my cut till I hit that stop block. I'll raise it up and I should be able to turn it and do the same thing again. So now as you can see, I have a spot cut out bigger than my hole, and it doesn't matter as long as it's wider than your Lazy Susan hardware is. And now what I can do is I can adjust my fence and move it back a little bit. So move it back about 1/2 an inch and tighten it back up. And now we're ready to do our second pass. And there you go, now it's all routed out. You can also do this on the top piece, and you need to do it before you make it your Lazy Susan round. But as you can tell, you can still see the holes I drilled. Our holes still line up and we're below the surface, and this will turn. So that's good. And we're still lined up with our hole right here to be able to attach this to the top here in a minute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing on my top. I'm gonna do that off camera. You guys don't need to see me make this one here, route that hole in it, but I'm gonna route the hole in the top, and I'm gonna make this round off camera as well. You guys saw that in the other video. So as you can see, my router fence was not wide enough to get this whole cut. But since I got a hole in the center, I set this in here and it fits, and it's not gonna interfere with anything. So I'm just gonna leave that sticking up. It won't be a big deal anyway. Line up my first hole, start the screw. Then we'll go to the second hole, start that screw. Next hole. And by the way, if you guys are going to be using this, you should go ahead and finish the underside now before you attach this. I'm doing this for a video, so I'm not too worried about it, but I would do all your final sanding and finishing before you get to this step. And now that you got them all started, you can go ahead and tighten them up. So now we're ready to attach it to this. And you're going to line this up. Let me make sure I can show you guys correctly. See how you can see your hole there? That's what you're wanting to see, is just like that. So you're going to find your first hole. See how that's lined up in there? So now you're going to want to try to And this is going to be a struggle, most likely, is going to be to get your screws to go in there without sliding around. Magnet would help. I used tweezers in my last video. I think I actually made this hole large enough that I can use my fingers in this one. So you need to spin it, you need to get it tight enough to where you can turn this. It's probably best to go to the opposite corner and line it up. So right there it is. And I'm not getting any of these tight yet. And then we'll spin around to the last one. Now we can tighten them all up. And now it's done. You can see right in there the holes, the screws. Maybe you can't, but now it's done. And look at that. It works great. And that's how you add the Lazy Susan hardware to your Lazy Susan. So thanks again for checking out one of my videos. Make sure you click that subscribe button. If you like this video, like it. Give it a thumbs up. Thanks again for watching, and as always, y'all, we'll see me next time.